From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Tuesday's edition of For the People on this July the 18th, 2017. We circle back to a story, and sometimes we do that on For the People when we kind of learn a little bit more about a particular story. And this involves a teenager who was in the bathtub and got electrocuted. You remember? The teen who was 14 years old. Well, they're showing a final photograph of the teenager in New Mexico. She was texting from her phone, and before she was electrocuted in her bathtub earlier this month. Now, I know that for some, that seems to be absolutely morbid, but bear with me. What she says, and, well, let me, first of all, before what she says, let me kind of try to describe the photograph for you and what I see here. What it appears to be is a towel with an extension cord kind of draped through it, and then it looks like she's got a little drink there with a straw. And then the caption says, when you use an extension cord so you can plug your phone in while you're in the bath. This was an MMS text message that she had sent out, and affiliate Fox 51, which is KFXK, had released this text message sent from this Texas teen who died while on the phone. And they thought initially that the phone itself actually had fallen into the bathtub, but that's not the case. And that was originally believed that Coey dropped her Samsung Edge. That was the type of phone that she was using, and that fell in the water. But the Sun reported that the phone was never immersed in the bath water with her. What it was the extension cord. It was frayed. A frayed extension cord, which there was exposed wires. It wasn't fully insulated. She didn't inspect the wire. She didn't know. Did you ever, and I've had this happen to me with my iPhone, where you use a charger and you just use it for so many different devices like your iPad. And but anyways, the wire just is used a lot. And what happens is you get the plastic that it starts fraying, and eventually it starts with the wire coming out. And if you touch a live electrical wire, you're going to get a little zap. Now, I've got that from my own phone wire. I never thought anything of it. Now, I can't say that I've draped an extension cord into the bath water with me, or even close to it while I'm on the phone. But for somehow the wire, because it wasn't grounded properly, and because it was exposed, because she was on the phone and she was in the water, which basically is conducive to electricity, and she was in it, there was a burn mark on her hand. That's how they kind of try to put all the pieces together. And I think to myself, how scary. Because you say, I would never do that. My kid would never do that. But kids do stupid things. Adults do dumb things. What I'm suggesting is a little consumer alert here on For the People. Around your household, examine extension cords. You might have some cheap ones that you might be doing dishes. You might be in your kitchen. There might be one frayed. You could electrocute yourself doing dishes. People have. People do crazy stuff with hair dryers. Those get frayed. Examine the wires of different things that you use all the time, like chargers. And have a talk with your teenagers and even your spouse that might be kind of like a teenager too. And have that conversation, because you might be able to, if you could save a life because of it was an extension cord, folks. Yeah, it probably wasn't the best decision to be in a bathtub. But you know how important those phone calls and those text messages are when you're just relaxing, trying to unwind a little bit. And these phones have become companions. You can't let them go. You can't even take a bath without the phone these days. You want to stay in touch with your peeps. But you became a crispy critter, folks. And I'm saying, don't become a crispy critter. So when I saw the picture, I thought, oh no, I don't want to see a picture of her. But what she took the picture of, and it's just so weird, but let her last words be a reminder. When you use an extension cord so you can plug your phone in while you're in the bath. Well, no extension cords near the bath, in the bath. You shouldn't even be on the phone, but definitely not charging the phone. The phone's not charged, then it's not charged. You leave it plugged in someplace else, but not in the bathtub. Please tell your teenager, please tell your possibly your spouse that might have a teenage mentality. You know what I'm talking about. They act like a kid. And sometimes they don't use their brain. It could be men and women. Not calling out anybody in particular. Don't call me, I'm this or that. Okay? I don't want any hate mail. People sometimes just don't think. And maybe you've done it before and you just thought, oh my God, I could have ended it. And she didn't want to die. This poor girl, so young, 14. And you know what? She's the same age as my daughter. And this young girl just recently graduated middle school with her father's house in Lovington, New Mexico, when the incident unfolded. Heartbroken father and parents. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. But please spread the word. Let folks know. Check your extension cords. Check your appliances, the ones you especially use. But sometimes they get frayed. You didn't even know it. You touch some water, you touch that, and you can zap yourself and kill yourself. And over an extension cord, not a good thing. Hillary Clinton making some news again. And a lot of people still looking at her, investigating her, but trying to connect the dots. And there's a lot of dots to be connected, especially with Hillary Clinton when she sided with Russia on sanctions. Yeah. The Russian lawyer who landed a meeting with Donald Trump Jr. during last year's presidential campaign with the promise of dirt on Hillary Clinton had one big thing in common with the Democratic candidate. Both had opposed Russia sanctions targeting human rights abuses and abusers. Did you know that? Further, former Secretary Clinton, her initial opposition, conceded with a $500,000 speech her husband gave in Moscow. $500,000 speech. Remember Bill Clinton? So basically gave her in Moscow. That was a Moscow speech, and link her to 2016 campaign fought to downplay in the press, according to the WikiLeaks released documents. And then the Trump White House officials are now trying to draw attention to that speech and the Clinton ties to Russia in a bid to counter criticism over Trump Jr.'s now infamous meeting. Very interesting, folks. Very interesting. Who colluded with who? And was the speech really that good? $500,000 speech in Moscow? Very interesting. You think about that. So with the help of the research team, we killed a Bloomberg story trying to link HRC's opposition to the MagStay bill, $500,000 speech that the Wall Street Journal gave in Moscow. So the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg both linked to the story, looking at this story and looking at some of these parallels with the Clintons and showing exactly what they were doing in Russia. And no wonder that the Russian reset didn't go very, very well. Because the former president indeed had received a personal call from Prime Minister. He was then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, expressing his, according to Clinton's ethics disclosure in the file while she was Secretary of State. Bill Clinton paid $500,000. He was paid by the Russian finance company Renaissance Capital for his June 29th, 2010 speech. That's when that took place in Moscow to its employees and guests in attending the company's annual conference. And the speech is now coming back to haunt the Clintons. Considering the company that cut the check was allegedly tied to the scandal that spurred the global Magnitsky Act, if I'm pronouncing that right, a bill that imposed sanctions on Russia designated as human rights abusers, and eventually would become law in 2012. So there was definitely some interest there and also an association there. So we're learning so much more. And you know what? For all of those pundits that said that this would come back, Bill Bennett was one of them. Sean Hannity, another one, that said that this would bite the Dems in the you know what? This is prime proof, folks. The linkage right now to show that the Dems have literally blood on their hands and definitely show that they colluded with the Russians, whether they intended or didn't intend. What's amazing, my dad used to say this, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Shouldn't do it. Not recommended. I wouldn't do it. But people are so quick to do it. It's very interesting. The irony in all of this. For anybody that seriously cares and wants to know, follow the money. There's always some kind of money trail, and there's always some kind of motivation, always something what motivates a human being. And what motivated Hillary Clinton? You don't get money for nothing and your chicks for free, like that Dire Straits song. That would be cool. I guess that's what happens when you become a rock and roll singer. But that's what the Clintons did, baby, and they went all over the place. Making money here and there for speeches and deals being made with the Russians. Indeed, they wanted something for that. And they got that something. And yes, it shows that there was a relationship with the attorney and the Clintons and Putin, then prime minister. So this goes back. God knows what was arranged with the Clintons, but we'll be hearing a little bit more about that story. Guess who else is in the news? Guess who else is surfacing this week is making news? And somebody that you probably haven't heard about in a long time, O.J. Simpson. He's been behind bars since 2007, 9 years in prison. Remember that robbery of sports memorabilia? The dealers in Las Vegas? Remember all of that? Where a Nevada parole board, they're going to be hearing his parole. He's got this parole board meeting coming up in Carson City this Thursday to decide whether the National Football League star and actor should be released from prison. Now, remember, Simpson convicted in October 2008 of armed robbery, assault, kidnapping, and other offenses after he and 5 associates, of 2 of them, were armed, ambushed the 2 sports memorabilia dealers in a casino hotel room. Simpson is 70 years old right now. And people ask me, why is he called the Juice? Why is OJ the Juice? Well, during his playing days, claimed he was just trying to recover, because of his name. Yeah, it's not OJ. You didn't know that? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's not his real name. It's why OJ Simpson. He's got Orville or something stupid like that. He didn't like his first name. A lot of people change their name. They just call him the Juice Man. The Juice Man. Yeah, but anyways, he's trying to get out. Looking a little rough. I've seen some recent staff pictures here that have taken to the Department of Corrections